Yo, what is up world of tanks, on track to the Centurion Action X, and today's video I will help you cover that journey. Stay tuned if you want to know how you can win yourself a Caernarvon Action X or a Centurion RACC. Now I'm going to show you three replays, one on the Cromwell, one in the Comet, and one in the Centurion Action X. Now if you're here for the first time, consider subscribing and giving this video a like. This is the best way you can help support my channel, and let me thank you in advance. Also, this is how you can win one of those premium tanks. Leave a comment down below and I will use a randomizer to pick one winner for the Caernarvon Action X or Centurion RACC. You have to be playing on the Hong Kong server though, because this is a gift for players on the Hong Kong server. So anyway, in my main account I have kept all the tanks from the Cromwell onwards in the British medium line. In my alt account, which is this account, I also kept the Cromwell onwards. I grinded the invite a friend a reward account, the invite a friend reward mission, and I created an account in 2015 to do that, and I picked the British medium tank line to do this mission because this is the most fun line that I think out of all the tanks. It was the most fun line to me because most of the tanks were playable and I had fun in them. So I picked this line. Now I chose this line because, like I said, it's fun, it's great, very playable. Back in 2015, it took me 900 games to get into the Centurion Action X, and you might think that's crazy, but that's how things were in 2015 with a free-to-play account. Now today, it'll take you 250 account if you're some kind of unicum. That's the quickest way you can get it, but roughly 350 games on average for the average player. This also includes, like, a heavy dose of premium account, XP boosters, platoon boosters, and blueprints, of course. Now, like I was saying, in addition to this line was the new tier 5 tank, which is the Cavalier. I'm not going to show you any gameplay of the Cavalier. I did play it in the test server before it went live, and I got an ace tanker, so I'll show you that ace tanker here, but it wasn't a big deal, so I don't want to show that gameplay. But we are in the Cromwell, 64 kilometers an hour top speed, reverse 20 kilometers an hour. It's got a reload time of 3.74 seconds, which is really good. This tank is a legend. It's used heavily in tournaments, skirmishes, stat padders, any kind of competitive environment. This tank is involved in tier 6s. I set my tank up with gun lane drive, vents, and optics. Obviously there's no vertical stabilizers in tier 6 Cromwells, so you use a GLD instead. Why am I not using any rammers? Well, that's because this tank reloads in 3.5 seconds with my vents on, and if I use a rammer, it only helps out another 10%, which is like 1/3 of a second. I felt like I don't really need that because it's already reloading 3.5 seconds. So I forego the rammer. Instead, I use a GLD vents and optics. So the GLD kind of helps me aim quick. The vents is an overall skill. It helps me to skill up all my crew and all the current crew and all the current skills. I have only a 1.7 skill crew in this Cromwell in my alt account. So the GLD directly helps me to aim quicker. Now this tank, it's notorious for bad aim. That's because the dispersion is 0.35, 2.21 seconds of aim time. It is pretty, well, not fast, but not like terribly slow either. Camouflage values 14.42 that's stationary. With all my camo skills, I think you get it up to about 30% in my actual account with all the all the camouflage crew skills. Now this was my first game in the Cromwell in probably 1 year, so for my first game I was pretty happy with it. I wanted to show you like this is kind of like the reasonable kind of gameplay that you can get, you can expect out of a Cromwell. Very dominant tank. Even though I haven't played this in a long time, I'm kind of rusty. Easily did 1000, 2003 or 1004 damage or whatever, because this is a very competitive tank. If you have any kind of idea of what you are doing in this game, you can do very well in it. This is why everybody keeps the Cromwell, because it's going to be a competitive tank. They're going to use it for strongholds, they're going to use it for tournaments and stuff like that. Now in competitive gameplay, I'm not going to be using a GLD. I'll probably use a rammer, because in competitive gameplay you're going to be moving in packs of medium tanks, and you're going to need that quick reload time. So in competitive gameplay, probably not going to use the GLD, probably stick to a rammer. And this is the result. Total damage 1738. First class here in my first game, over 6000 WN8. Very easy stat padding if you want to do it in a Cromwell. That's what a lot of people do anyways. But here we are, the second game that I want to show you. This is a Comet, and this Comet I'm playing in actually the sandbox server. In the live server, my Comet only has 1.9 skill crew. In the sandbox server, I can spend like 4 million credits to get it up to nearly 2 skills. In my actual live account, sorry, I don't even have 100% skill, so I decided to play it on the sandbox server. Also, one thing in the sandbox server, I usually run the vertical stabilizers, because you can run vertical stabilizers in the Comet. You can also run a rammer, and I usually run vents, but on the sandbox server I can run this thing called Turbo, and what it does, it gives me 15% extra engine power. So that was what I was trying to do there, try to get some bit of engine power, see if there's a little bit of difference. A little bit. This tank does suffer a little bit in mobility. Now in terms of stats, believe it or not, it's almost the same stats as the Cromwell. So in my opinion, out of the whole medium tank line, the Cromwell is the most difficult to play. Now I know this is Quickie Baby's favorite tank of all time. For me and for a lot of other players, it is not the favorite tank. It is nowhere near the favorite tank. Again, the reload time 3.74 seconds. It is exactly the same as the Cromwell. Damage wise, 140 damage. It is only 5 more HP damage than a Cromwell. So it's basically a upgraded Cromwell. Penetration 148. It is miserable. 148 penetration for standard shells. It is just a few millimeters of penetration more than a Cromwell. 208 penetration on the premium shells, which is APCR, which is only, I think Cromwell is 202 penetration on the premium shell. So in this tank you have to play almost 100% premium shells all the time to get a decent game. Now this, I am top tier. You can see I'm a top tier in this game. That's the only reason why I can be a little bit more dominant, a little bit more aggressive. When you're playing in tier 8, tier 9 games, you are going to be very passive. You are going to be hiding all the time. You are going to play very much more conservatively. Even though I'm top tier here, I cannot fully send it. I cannot be fully aggressive. The dispersion on this tank 0.33, not much better than a Cromwell. In fact, I think it's the same as a Cromwell. Possibly, I think Cromwell is probably 0.35 or something like that, but like I said, not that great in terms of performance, gun performance. Not a great overall tank. However, I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. By the end of this game, I do get an ace tanker, and this is because A lot of things are lining up for me here. All the stars are lining up for me. Everything is working out for me. Very lucky in some occasions. I have the low module here, which gives me a little bit of a mobility advantage here to escape the 3 artilleries that is going to be trying to shoot me. So again, it takes a long time to aim. There's 0.33 dispersion with 2.21 seconds of aim time. You can't really snapshot anything here. It is not a snapshot machine. It is not fantastic, basically. But basically in this tank as well, I do not run the gun rammers just like the Cromwell. I would rather run optics, vertical stabilizers, and vents because it reloads 3.5 seconds. You're not going to get a great advantage loading another 1/3 of a second quicker. So I'd rather have some kind of overall performance that, for instance, vents that I can use for my entire crew. It helps me aim a little bit quicker if I use vents. It helps me with a little bit of mobility if I use vents. So I prefer that over quick reload time, unless of course I'm sitting in front of someone and firing non-stop. That's when you really wish you had the gun rammer on for that 0.33 second quicker reload, you know what I mean? But in most of the time I don't care for a quicker reload. I would rather just have an overall better performance by using vents in this tank. But again, I am in the sandbox here, so I'm testing out the turbo module, which gives me a little bit more engine power, 15% engine power. I can feel it slightly. I can feel that the mobility is improved slightly with the turbo, but not really overpowering, not that crazy. If I was in a wheeled tank, it'd probably be a lot of difference, but not in the Comet. But enough for me just to escape the the artillery barrage. There are 3 of them, so I was glad to be able to have just that slight little bit of mobility advantage so I can escape from them. And maybe this 15% extra power here gave me the chance to chase down this T-71. A little bit of mobility here, so I could probably chase him because of that. Now I'm going forward at him here, forcing him to reverse. It's better than chasing him from behind, because if I was chasing him from behind, he could go forward and completely evade me, right? So I had to be sure which way he was facing. So I went head on with him so that I forced him to reverse, and because he was reversing, he was a little bit slower. I could catch up with him and finish him off. Just like that, over 2,000 damage in the tank. I'm glad that I paid attention to where that T-71DA was facing, because if I was chasing him from behind, he would have easily run away there, because if he was facing the front, right, he could just drive off and evade me. But I paid attention to that, made sure that I was facing his front, forced him to reverse. Therefore, he was slow and I could catch up with him and kill him off. Just a little tip there that maybe help you out if you are not familiar with that kind of gameplay. But anyway, that was the Comet. And Ace Tanker there also got a high caliber, or whatever that is. Again, I fired a lot of premium shells here, so don't expect to make a lot of credits. Penned a lot of it because I was top tier, only because I was shooting APCR. If I was not top tier, and even if I was like fighting tanks in my lower tier, it would have been really difficult for me to pen any kind of tanks with standard shells. So use APCR in your Comet, it is the most difficult tank to get through. Now we are in the final tank, the Centurion Action X. This is of course the tier 8, tier 9 and tier 10 plays similarly. They are basically the similar tank, the Centurion in the tier 8, Centurion 7.1 in the tier 9, and this is of course the tier 10, the final tank, Centurion Action X. I am still in the sandbox because I decided to use this module that gives me 6 kilometers an hour more top speed. I can feel the top speed working for me here. Normally Centurion Action X only has 52-53 kilometers an hour top speed, but with the module it gives me 6 kilometers an hour bit more top speed, so I got about like 58 kilometers an hour top speed. But that is all it's going to do for me, because once I got to this position, I'm just going to be starting to do a little bit of I'm going to be basically staying here throughout the game, not going to be going anywhere. So that module with the top speed is not going to be working for me much throughout the rest of the game. Anyway, Centurion Action X, 8.25 seconds reload time. Standard shells is APCR. Premium shells, heat. The penetration on standard APCR shells, 268 pen. It is good enough. Not too terrible at all, 268 penetration. But versus some other hardened tier 10 tanks, you might need your heat with 330 pen. Aim time a lot better than the 221 aim, 2.21 seconds aim time of the Cromwell and the Comet. 2.01 seconds is really good. This gun is really good. You don't really need any kind of modules that that improve your gun handling in this tank. Basically I just run vertical stabilizers, and I normally run rammers, and I normally either run vents or optics. That's up to you. I normally run optics, but you can run vents if you want. But like I said, this gun is really good. The aim time is really good. Dispersion 0.31 is really good on this tank. So if you want to forego the vents and use optics again, use optics instead of vents so that you can boost your view range, that would be really good, because standard view range is 410 on 410 meters on this tank. If you run optics on this tank, of course you are going to boost another 10%, which is, it's going to be 450 plus 460 with optics. And then if you run food, and then if you have BIA, you're talking about in excess of 450 meters of view range. Now, you didn't see me being very aggressive here on the K line. That was because I am all by myself, and what I didn't want was to be on my own here and then get myself outplayed by the T100 LT, and if he partnered up with that EBR, they could have easily destroyed me. See, here we go, that's the EBR, and again, troll armor. It's got that magic wheels where you can never pen him, and he gets 2 shots on me. I get 2 shots on him, but bounce both my shots on him, and the third one I don't want to let him get away, and I did manage to pen him there. 391. He's gonna be back for more, but the my friend here in the E4 manages to pen him and finishes him off. We are only one tank. We only have a 1 tank advantage, but we are going to forge ahead. Now we have 2 tank advantage, and I don't want this guy to spot me, but he does. I want to get rid of this T100 LT if I can, because that is the most annoying tank after the EBR. It's going to keep us spotted, and those guys at the back are going to punish us if we poke over. So I'm going to risk it for the biscuit here, but I locked in with the auto aim here, and I didn't pen him, but I managed to get him there on my second shot. Now I'm going to reload a little bit quicker than he does, hopefully, and see if I can get him before he gets to land another shot on me, and just like that, 2.2 damage. I've switched to the heat shells, try to get those snipers at the back, and now we have a substantial 6 tank lead. I can't sneak up, I am a one-shotter, so I want to just try to get as much damage as I can on the FV215B, and I managed to shoot him before he spots me and snapshots me. He missed his shot, so another 3 tanks left. Realistically, I can't push into the one line, so I'm just gonna see if I can get 1 or 2 or 3 more shots on this IS-7 before the game is over. And I think I managed to get 1 more shot here. Now again, if you are interested in getting a free tank from Wargaming and you are playing on the Hong Kong server, please leave a comment below, and I will pick a winner from the comments on the Hong Kong server, and you can win yourself a Caernarvon Action X Tier 8 or a Centurion RACC Tier 8 medium tank. There you go, 3.3 damage, a little bit of spotting, got myself a 3rd class there, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you are enjoying the Centurion Action X grind, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks and bye bye.